Good morning and good afternoon and good evening, depending on when you're watching this video. Today we've been outside actually for a while, on episode number 4. And in today's episode, literally, I just wanted to take it at the beach, just to calm the nerves down because exams are coming up. And also, just to watch Table Mountain and watch the sunset. And what I wanted to touch on actually today's video is I wanted to talk about traffic. Specifically, if you look at a place like Cape Town, how annoying traffic is, and actually where I'm trying to think of ways on what we can do with traffic. I mean, currently now in Cape Town, they want to have a rush hour tax, where people, if you're driving around peak hour, you might pay. So that one is still actually under review. Oh, it's hot, yeah. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. So basically, so that is actually still under public consideration. So they want to see basically where that's actually going to end up. But what's happening is now Cape Town, I think it's actually the 9th most congested city in the world. And that is not good. In fact, also it's it was caused by spatial plan. Yeah, again, glitching. This was actually caused by spatial planning, like in the early, when Cape Town as a city was actually formed, this whole thing of one way in, one way out. Because it takes just one major accident. For example, the N2 and the N1, they start like just after you leave the city ICC. So I seem to be having quite a lot of technical glitches lately. Batteries running out while I'm trying to record. But what I'm saying is it starts from the city ICC, the N2 and the N1. So imagine if there's a major accident there, that means almost 90% of people who work in the CBD of Cape Town will be blocked in and people cannot also get out. Then we're like, okay, why is it that? Because, I mean, if you actually look at the city in terms of the public transportation, like your city actually quite works well. But then again, my city is not everywhere. It's only on limited places so far. And luckily where I stay, there is my city. That could also help. But then again, all this time and years, we've been encouraging people to get their own cars. Because first of all, taxis are the worst of the worst, especially in South Africa. So if in Kenya, you'll know them as matatus. And then if you in America, you know them as minibuses. But yeah, they are the worst. They don't, to them, traffic rules are just optional. They don't really follow them. So yeah, but there's that. That's what's also what's happening. Then you realize that people are actually spending, especially a minimum of 40 minutes up to an hour just to travel 20 kilometers. And if you stay, like for example in Stellenbosch or further, you could be sitting if on good traffic like an hour in traffic. At times it could be even more. And you wonder what's actually the cause? Well, Mythbusters and everyone they've actually did tests on what causes traffic. And sometimes for me, what I've noticed on a personal level is the amount of people who are driving, on a freeway, they'll be cruising at 60 kilometers an hour or 80 kilometers an hour on the right-hand lane, which is considered as a fast lane or an emergency lane, and they don't want to move. And you realize that's actually on the K53, literally, if you're running for your license, that's the number one thing that you actually need to learn. You learn about keep left, pass right, but people always assume you have the right to be on the road, but also you don't have the right to be blocking people. What they don't realize is that now you are driving 80 kilometers an hour. There are people who are driving faster, like to the up to 120, some even more, were all piling up behind you because you decide that, oh no, I have a right to be here. Now you're creating a knock-on effect for everyone else around you. Like literally, it takes one car to put the city, any city actually, on the ground. And you're like, yeah, if people actually can be more, they think, again, remember the number one rule, keep left, pass right. If you're driving on the left-hand side of the road. If you're driving on the right-hand side, keep right, pass left. Yeah. And then when you also look at how actually many people, to them, they actually never follow the road signs at all. When they're driving around, this guy who's walking now, he's just been asking quite a lot of things from people, yeah. Where people, for example, they never read road signs. Special example is actually the amount of accidents that have been happening where close to where I stay actually, I'm in the intersection, and let me actually take you there so that you can actually see. So let me see what I'm talking about. It says here, pass only. I'm going to actually use the voiceover. Okay. So it says here, pass only. I'm going to use the voiceover to explain what is it that I'm talking about, because it's lovely here. Thank you, Lwando from the street. So I just want to explain what is happening actually in this video, in this intersection. This is actually one of many intersections, and the one actually right next door to this one, that's where most of these accidents actually do happen. Like you see, for example, here, if a car wants to turn right, usually a car will creep in forward, and then so that if it's clear from oncoming traffic, then people can move forward. But now in these intersections, what happens is that if you want to turn right, you actually need to stop and wait for the traffic light to actually show you that it's your turn to go. But sometimes people get confused because they will see the bus traffic light green, and they'll see another one green, the one on the left hand side, and then they avoid the one that's red in the middle, and then they enter the intersection, and at that particular time there's a bus that is bearing down on their lane because again they have the right of way there, and then a collision happens. And I think I've seen this like almost 3 or 4 that have happened now in one intersection just outside of the one that I'm showing you, of the exact same accident. And the unfortunate part, it's usually people out of town who are not familiar with this traffic system. And I've seen actually they've been experimenting now almost 2 years with a new traffic light system at the by Tableview station, where they use the British systems for buses. Then they use the normal green, amber and red for normal cars. So that way there is no ambiguity or confusion when it comes to the traffic lights system. So that's basically what is currently happening here. And again, you do have those roads which are actually dedicated for buses. But then again, South African minibus taxis, they use these ones as nilly-willy. They just go on and on and on and on and on and on, because to them rules don't apply. They just guidelines. So they'll end up on those lanes, even though those lanes are dedicated purely for the My City buses. And the amount of times people would usually, instead of stopping, they'll creep in forward while a My City bus is literally hurtling way on their own lane, and then boom, an accident happened. And literally, I don't know how many accidents have happened in that one intersection. Obviously not the one that I was shooting at, but the one next door to it. I can't stop there. But again, it all boils down to that thing that sometimes once people get their licenses, doesn't matter how they get them, they just stop paying attention to rules of the road. And now that creates a whole lot of other problems, where there's accidents that are happening and it becomes dangerous and at times even more fatal because people don't follow the rules of the road. To them, they're quite optional. And I've seen actually some of the things that other countries that are doing, like where the traffic lights are actually interconnected, they're talking to each other. I mean, we live in the world of AI, so you'd assume that actually by now traffic lights should be able to talk to each other and be able to, say, because for example, you'll have an intersection where, like, let's say there's traffic lights 400 or 500 meters away from where you are. It's gridlock traffic. So the one here, the one at the back will go green, while the one in front is still red. But now there's no movement happening because these robots are not talking to each other. And then by the time the first one goes red, the one in front is going green, which clears now off the intersection, but there's still these people who are still stuck. They couldn't move. Then other people now are coming through, but they're also stuck in this whole gridlock. But if you can actually have the traffic lights all talking to each other, then that's a whole different story. It could help. And one thing I've noticed, especially in Thailand, I'm sure they do it also other places around the world, where you have timers on the traffic lights. That for me will alleviate a lot of stress, and people will actually see how long you have in that particular intersection before the robot turns green or red. Okay, back from the ad break. At this rate, I might as well call this channel Unscripted and where anything else can happen. So I was busy recording at the beach, and then the battery ran out. Yeah, but before we were rudely interrupted, I was talking about, for example, where the timers and the traffic lights could be visible for all drivers. This way, people then also they know how much time they have before they can clear an intersection, or rather than now stressing and you don't know when it's going to turn on, so when is it time to go and when it's not time to go. So I believe like something needs to be done, a change needs to be done. And then going back to what I spoke about it at the beginning of this video, where Cape Town is thinking of taxing people, I've seen actually an idea which is done in Nairobi, Kenya, where they have a freeway system that if you actually want to, sorry, I'm still trying to find a way because again, that's it. So if you want, what you might call it, there's a freeway system that if you want to stay out of traffic, you can actually pay a minimum amount and then you can drive through the express road. That for me, actually, it's a very good idea. It works well. Then people, at least they know what they're paying for, rather than where you charge people according to what's being proposed and there's no alternative. It's not like I'm being charged and then I can get to drive, get to my destination as quickly as possible. They've also spoken to a number of companies to change their trading times so that there's less people commuting at the same time. And now there's that whole thing. Which company is going to be saying, okay, I'm going to let my people come in at 11 p.m. But then again, when you do that, you need to think that there are other people who are traveling on public transport where if they come at 11 a.m. and now they have to go home at 9 p.m., there's no public transport available for them to go home. So those are some of the things that we don't think about, but they're out there. So in terms of then the traffic, is that we need to figure out a way where we make public transport sexy, where it's already expensive again to be in your own car. But the thing is the fact that now in Cape Town, if, for example, let's say I want to move from here to Muizenberg, already by public transport, I'm out of limits because my city can leave where I am to Civic Center in town, but there's no my city that travels that side. So you can take a train, provided actually that it's peak hour, so there's regular trains. So you see there's quite a whole disconnect. Whereas if someone that decides to drive, then they can just drive whenever they want. So now I don't know what could be the best solution for me, but I still think make more people work from home. if you make more people work from home, then you alleviate quite a lot of traffic. And then people also get to be much more happier. Okay, turns out I was struggling, forgetting that actually my flatmate has a phone stand that can actually hold the camera for me. So, where was I? Okay, I was saying working from home for me could be a solution that's untested, against my opinion, when it comes to alleviating traffic. Because think about it, if for example you say each company where you get like a quarter or half the office working from home, and working from home it's done according to where people live. So if there's 50 people in your company that works in Khayelitsha, then half the week or on that particular week they're not at work, they're working from home. If your work does what you call, if your company actually can accommodate people working from home, that way then you have very few people all trying to get to the same place at work at the same time. So then we can try and alleviate traffic as much as possible. So yeah, those are some of the things actually that we need to think about. Because now when you're trying to text people from when you try to text people from driving, people then they'll start rebelling against you, because I'm like, you're charging me more for while you're actually not doing anything. I mean, we've seen it with a future episode that I'm actually going to do of this, electricity and ESCOM. We're charging more people, but they're getting less anyway. So those are some of the things that we need to think about it. And because if you think about, because some of the things that I doubt many CEOs or senior management know when it comes to their workforce. So think of someone, for example, who stays Khayelitsha or Mitchell's Plain or any place that is far, and your work, they start, for example, at 7 or 7:30 or even 8 a.m. So this means this person by 3 a.m. they need to be up. Chances are around 4:30 a.m. they need to be leaving their home, go travel by public transport to get to work at 7, and then coming back home again, it's that struggle again with public transport. So chances are they're only going to be at home at around 6-7 p.m. at night. Can you imagine now, this person has children, they can't even bond with their families because they're so tired. They have to come back, make dinner for the kids, and sometimes by the time they come back it's already almost bedtime for the kids. They sleep, and it's like 5 days a week of doing that. And how do you then create like for example, for me, I don't believe in the whole notion of the customer is always right, or the customer is the number one person. Like for example, in a particular company, I always say the employee is the first person you need to please, because once an employee is pleased, then the employee would interact well with your customers. They'll bring more customers for you, because again, they're well taken care of and they're happy. So if you're not thinking about the bottom line, which is profits, and you think about the wellness then of the people, then that could also change their mindset, because people are tired. If you think about it, by already April, May, people are already having year-end fatigue, and it's not just a joke, it's reality. People are tired, people are overworked, and again, when they look at their compensation, they're not compensated that well. And then people wonder why others leave. It's because of that. And then most people actually will end up even going and taking a secondary loan or side hustle, so that again they can keep up. And now for me, if companies could then alleviate, where give more people freedom to work hybrid, they can come to the office but they also work from home, then we eliminate a number of many people who should be spending unnecessarily long time stuck in traffic and on the road. So yeah, that's great. And one thing I've also noticed, especially again, if you look at like cities like Cape Town, when there's a whole development that is happening, it takes a long time for the traffic lights and traffic systems to keep up. So, for example, you'll have a traffic system that used to cater maybe, let's say, 1,500 cars per day, to now handling the same amount in an hour per hour, 1,500 cars per hour. That particular intersection cannot keep up. It's going to take quite a long time. And now it creates, again, a cascading effect of traffic, because you're blocking people almost everywhere now, all starting from one point. So yeah, when it comes to traffic, I don't think there's any one person who enjoys traffic. But at least it's not bad, like, because you have cities like your Los Angeles in the west coast of the US, where they have like also one of the worst. And then you have in China, where people were stuck for over, was it 9 days or 2 weeks? Pretty much close. They're in traffic. Imagine you're stuck in traffic for 2 weeks. It's not good for anyone. So I think we need to make, again, public transport very affordable and very sexy. And I'm loving actually what Metro Rail is currently doing in Cape Town, where they're trying to make trains, people to bring people back to trains. Because I also use trains. They're very nice. Like these new trains, they just dropped that gorgeous. Ooh, love them. That blue and white, trains. They look so cool. They look so futuristic. But I wish, again, there's not many railway stations to everywhere around the cities. So that's another thing that they actually need to think about, like where everything is interconnected. Taxis, buses, and trains, they somehow work on almost a similar schedule. So the taxis, the buses, and the trains at my city, they kind of almost working well now. But yeah, we shall see what it happens. But anyway, it's been a day of shooting and glitches, and for me, again, it's time to go prepare for my exam that is coming up. Yeah, I just want to say, actually, just before I leave, I actually also want to ask you a question. If you've, again, watched all the way here, like, where you're from, how's the traffic situation? How's your community, your commuting? How long does your commuting takes, basically, from your home to work and back, vice versa, on an everyday basis? And wherever you are in the world, if you're watching this video, what is your country or your city is currently doing to help alleviate the traffic congestion that we're currently experiencing? But anyway, this has been Unscripted with Lwando, with a touch of technical glitches, and I'll see you on episode number 5. Bye-bye.